guys, what up? Jon from LinksWell. It is time for episode 18 of LinksWell Together podcast. It's another first for us, so I think we should get at it. All right, guys, that's right. Episode 18. You know what that means, right, Vic?
Yeah, it's December.
No. Well, yeah, I mean, it is December, but it means that our podcast can officially vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, because there's 18 episodes?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
You would know that.
I just said 18.
No, I know it's
okay.
18. I just didn't know that there was a certain amount of episodes you had to have.
Well, it's like you can't vote for president until you're 18.
Bro, I'm telling you, a lot of these things just, woo, okay, got it.
You got
yes,
it? Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So in like 3 years
yes,
or episodes,
right.
we'll be able to drink. So I think on our 21st episode, we should drink.
Oh, yes.
You get what I'm saying?
But we can't do it on camera.
Yeah, we can. It'll be coffee mugs. There it is, coffee mugs.
Nobody knows what's in there. It's coffee.
Yeah,
What's
it's totally coffee. It's tea, Earl Grey tea. Anyways, as I mentioned, this is a first for us this episode. We've had, with just us here, we've been off-site. We've had dealers. We've had reps. We've even had a YouTube channel in. And this week it's actually a double first because we have our very first hashtag Team LinksWell influencer on Instagram.
Oh.
We have our first actual influencer and our first lady.
Nice.
Yeah. So, everybody, welcome, Sara. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on.
Yes.
I was on a mad rush to get guests this last month as we were getting to Christmas time, and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe at the end of the year. Maybe at the end of the year." So you saying yes is a godsend. So
yes,
thank you.
I'm ready.
Yep. Cool. Well, for those of you who don't know who Sara is, Sara has a Instagram, pretty big following called Badass Beauty. So I think before we get anywhere, we need to know where the name came from. Like where did the name come from?
Well, my parents always called me Sassafras growing up. And so that was like my nickname, Sass. So then I was just like, well, one day, I was into my Instagram used to be for makeup tutorials and things like that. And then that kind of died down. So it was Bad Sass Beauty. And then I changed it because I started adventuring and doing car stuff and shows and things like that. So it became Badass Beauty.
There it is.
Yeah.
Sassafras. I swear I could hear my mom say that, or at least my grandma. I don't think they would say it about me because I wasn't a very sassy child. I
definitely was.
I have told my parents over and over again that I was their best child. So,
Jon, there will never be another one like you.
Yeah. So we actually, my youngest son had a soccer game. I don't know, a month or two ago, and one of my sisters was down, who I don't see hardly ever, and her little boy came to the game, and somehow we got talking about like growing up as kids, and I just looked at my mom and I said, "Hey, Mom, you're welcome." And my sister straight snort laughed. But I still think I'm the best kid. So anyways, but that's here nor there. That's for that's not even a debate. I just know it's true. So best friend. But cool. Right on. So started off with makeup and then went to adventuring. So what made you shift from makeup to adventuring?
Well, it was always more for adventure always. I just didn't think when Instagram, well, that was like back in 2014-ish, maybe even earlier, when Instagram first came out. And like, I was just posting, not even realizing I was posting to people. Like, I didn't know it was like that type of platform. I thought it was more for like editing pictures at the time.
Okay.
And then once I got my Jeep, my family's always been camping, adventuring, going out and doing things growing up. Well, then it also, once I got that Jeep, I just started posting my adventures. Had a little Hyundai Accent going to national parks and trying to go off-road in that and do things. And I was paying so much for hotels, and when I'm not even in the hotels, I'm like waking up at 2 a.m, going hiking, and then coming back at like 5-6 o'clock. And so it was like, I always felt like that was such a waste of my money. So I was like, well, let's just do a Jeep payment. You know, let's get a Jeep. I could camp out in there and go off road and still adventure. And then once I started posting that, it was a whirlwind. Like, I mean, companies reaching out and things like that. And then so it just became like my adventure page, and it's been that ever since.
That's crazy. So I'll be honest, being in the industry, it's not often that you see, so like models have always been a thing within the car like world. There's always models. Like that's why every magazine has a model on the front. It's different when you have like a lady that actually gets nitty and gritty with it. So
Right.
that's actually that's how I was able to get you through the influencer side was I was like, look, like she's out there using it. Like she's using it. She's making videos about like, you know, it's not just posts of like, check me out with my Jeep, but she's actually out there doing it. And
Right.
so
when I am out there doing it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So when my boss was like, hey, we need to find one more, I was like, I got it. I got the one. I
was so happy when you messaged me because that was like a year ago.
Yeah, it was a bit ago.
And it's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a good few months after you reached out to me, seeing if we had any influencer spots, and I wonder, I can't remember if it was you. I think I told you like you're gonna kind of like make or break this influencer game because at the time my bosses were like, oh, this never works. They never make content. And I'm like, no, I think this one's different. And so you have been super faithful, posting and having fun, and our radios have been in there. So you actually helped me kind of grow the
I get compliments wherever I go.
It's a game changer for sure. So for those who don't know, she's got the Jeep.
Yes.
And we sent her the big guy.
15.6.
If you're going to go big, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got this Jeep, you've built the Jeep, you got all these cool parts on there. So what about, well, first, because you reached out to us. So what was the thing that we had that brought your attention? Like what made you reach out initially?
So my friend actually has one of your models. I'm not sure what type of model it was. And she was always posting it. And I just was like, wow, this is something that I would benefit from. And so I kind of like dug deep. I was like reading like every review, every like trying to watch YouTube videos because of obviously you see a picture, you don't know what it does, you know? Yeah. And the more I kept digging into it, it was just intriguing. It was just like, wow, you're telling me I could do my off-road maps. I can pinpoint locations. I could watch movies. I can do all these different things. And it was just like, I want to be a part of this company and actually get to use it and basically show others what you can do, you know? And it was just, therefore, I was just like, I'm going to reach out to them. And if they say no, then I'm just going to, you know, okay. But the more I reached out, it was just like, I'm just going to give it my all. I'm just going to shoot the shot.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's funny. So who was the friend?
Jeep She Soul. Her name is Ray. But she said that her friend gave her that mod. So I don't know what friend gave her that, but yeah, ever since then, I was like in love.
That's cool. Yeah, we had one other Jeep that I sent already to. It wasn't that name though. I cannot for the
So
life
I take
of me
it the
recall
radio has been everything you expected and more.
Oh, and more. I actually had a cop one time. Funny story. I had the doors off and everything, and it was probably about dusk time. And I have my wolf box, you know, going, and then I have the screen on, and it plays my Spotify. So some Spotify artists will have like moving album covers and stuff. And I thought I was going to get pulled over because at first I don't have mirrors. And usually here they'll be like, you need mirrors on, you know, when you have your doors off. So he pulls up on his intercom, motorcycle cop, and he was like, the inside of your Jeep looks like a spaceship. So because I have like everything in there in the cockpit just like going, and it's just, you know, and you know, when I do Jeep shows, I did powered by RST in few months back, and I made top 50, and I had that displayed in there with it going, and so that was pretty cool. And I got a lot of like people like, oh, do you have a code for it? And that's why I reached out to you, because I'm like, do I have a code or not? Because I don't know.
You do.
So then my friend recently just messaged me and was asking for my code, because I guess it was a local dealer here in where we live, but I don't know if she could have used it, but I gave it to her, so maybe it helped her. So
Yeah, possibly. So we have a big dealer because you're Central Cali, right?
right.
Yeah. 559 car stereo. I can't remember the name. The 5559 is like it's like one of the names there. It's like a DBA, but I can't for the life of me cannot recall it. But they're like right there in Fresno. They've got like billboards on the freeway. So my daughter works and lives at Hume Lake up there.
Okay.
Her and her husband work and live up there. So, and my wife and I have been taking kids to Hume Lake for 15 years for summer camp.
Wow.
So we drive through Fresno
Sweet.
at least 3-4 times a year. I actually had to go. I took our Jeep up to Hume and towed my daughter's Ford Escape home in the snow because the transmission went out.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Jeeps can do that too.
Go Jeep.
Yeah, go Jeep. See, Jeep life.
I know.
Hey, there
Hashtag
was somebody stuck in a Yoder, and the next day they went out and got a Jeep on the trail. Got stuck out there, and luckily we were out there to pull him out. And the next day he was like, "I'm turning this in, and I'm getting a Jeep." And sure enough, he got a Jeep.
Whoa.
See, happy.
What
man
was he
now.
in?
A Yoda.
Toyota 4Runner.
Those Yoda folks. We have one of those too, though.
We do.
We do have one. We're trying to sell it, but we do have one. So, sweet. I love it. Love it. So you went with your Jeep. You have a name. I haven't named our Jeep mainly because inside, it's the company's Jeep that I called dibs on before we even started building it 4 years ago. And they have yet to decide when to sell it. And right now, I am not able to buy it. So I'm trying to not push the sale. And I know if I name it, I'll lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when everyone's like, what's the Jeep's name? I'm like, Jeep. It's just Jeep.
That's it.
It's
Just Jeep.
Jeep.
Don't want to name it. Yeah,
Make
I don't
it
want to get too
attached to it.
attached. Yeah, I'm really
It
attached to
really
it.
is,
but-
though. You really do get attached to a car. I
Yeah.
know that people think that sounds crazy, but like, it is such like, it's your baby, you know? Once you give it a name,
no,
it's
it
just, it's over.
Yeah, it's totally over.
I think it's just a mindset. Like if you get it to like, I mean, wait, you got it, and your initial thought was, I'm going to turn this into my, I don't know, like blogging car, and I'm going to
Overlander.
do all this. Oh yeah, so you decided from when you got it that that's what you were going to do. So see, I think it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like if you get a car and you go, well, you know, I'm just going to use it for a couple of years, and then if you get into it with that mindset, I think you don't get attached to it. But if
maybe.
That is
I used
true.
to be attached to my cars, but not as much anymore.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I get attached to mine. I tuck them in at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't know much about cars, so to her it's just the blue car, the white car.
Yeah. My wife names her cars, so
Yeah.
she always has a name. My wife is a non-car person. I think that's the best way to.
That's like the
I get
realest
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's like doesn't care but does care. She doesn't know but she does
Yes.
know, and ultimately she attempts to follow along with my, I don't know, my carness, I guess would be the way to say it. So it's
A
been really
great
nice.
supporter.
Yes.
There you go.
So my baby boy, I have 4 kids. My baby boy turns 15 in like 3 weeks. And so what is he doing but researching first cars?
Oh.
Okay.
Love that.
So here's my thing about my baby boy. My baby boy is a research phenom. Like when he was like learning to write, he decided he was going to do reports on Bugatti and Ferrari. So he like wrote his own reports, history reports on these cars. Like, so he's just a research phenomenal, right? So he comes in, he's like, all right, Dad. So I have a list of 5 of the best first time cars. And I was like, oh boy. Okay, son, let me have this list. Do you want to know what's on this list?
Let's hear
There's
it.
an Audi A4,
An Audi A4.
a BMW 325i, a Ford Taurus Show. I don't even know.
What is that?
You know what
I
the
know
Ford
Taurus, but not
It's like it's got like the crazy big block.
really.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like wrap your car around a pole.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then what was the other one? He's always wanted an RX-7, but there's something else. Anyways, so he's giving me this list, and I'm like, hey, buddy, so you could probably find one at pretty cheap right now, but do you know what parts are going to cost for that Audi or that BMW?
Yeah.
And he's like,
That Audi is going to be.
So anyway, so he's researching that now. So it's been pretty fun to watch my boy. He's always
but
my
that
youngest has always been into
excitement,
cars. Yeah, it's super fun. I got to take him to SEMA last year.
Oh yeah, they were there.
Yeah, they were there last year. Both my boys were, and they had a blast. They really wanted to come this year, but they had other life responsibilities. And so I couldn't get them out there. But anyways, all that to say, yes, love cars. Cars are great, and it's probably an unhealthy love, I think. But
a good healthy.
A good healthy. All right, we'll go with that. I'll go with good healthy. I like that better. So, all right. So you had plans to build an Overlander. You built that Overlander, and
what's the first thing you did to it? Like, was it suspension? What was it? Like, you know,
it is fully stock. I have not done anything with the suspension, lift, anything like that. For me, the first thing was the bumpers had to go. I just they had to. I just did not like that. And ended up doing that. Then started with, I have a one-touch roof, so I have the convertible top. And I was searching high and low to how am I going to put a rooftop tent on this if I can't fully have a rack on it. And so then I started researching and came to Gobi Racks, which they do non-drilling right above, and I can still pull my top down if I still want to. But I mean, now that I have the tent on it, having the convertible down, you don't really have much of a view.
It doesn't matter.
The tent's on top. But I mean, you can still get the airflow. So I mean, that's nice. And then actually, I reached out to 4x4 Colorado before I did the rack. So I was like, what am I doing? It was like, companies reaching out to me, and then I reached out to maybe a handful of people. Most of them started reaching out to me, and I just it was overwhelming at first because I knew I wanted to turn into an Overlander because I knew I wanted to go camping. I knew I wanted to do all these off-road adventures and go up into Utah and all these things. But where do you start? There's so much that you can do to your rig, and for me, and I had so many people that would tell me why'd you do that? Why didn't you start off with a lift first and suspension and then work your way up? And for me, I do get off road. I mean, I've gotten stuck. I've been in Utah. I've been out to the Red Rocks. I have big dents in the side, and I'm not going to fix it. It's just, I want to take a shark bite, But for that, I'm not a really rock crawler. So I didn't find that I should put my money towards, like a lift or suspension or something like that. So I'm getting by on stock, baby.
Yeah, well, the Jeep stock suspension's pretty good, solid.
Yeah.
So,
it's great.
So unless you're really trying to do something crazy, it's plenty good. And then you have the Willys?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Willys, yeah. And the Willys has got a little bit better suspension. So
and she's a 4XC, so I'm gonna get hate for it, but she's a hybrid.
I won't say anything. I won't make fun of you. Yeah, I will make fun of you. I'll be honest with you. That idea. I've been in this industry too long, and I know what water and electricity do in a car. So for me, the idea of taking a car that's half electrical to a place that's full of water and dirt, it just makes me too nervous.
40 inches, baby. I mean, I've gone through water. The most reason why I got the hybrid is because I can plug in all my stuff. It keeps it going. I haven't had a problem with it. I mean, with the recall, I did, unfortunately, but I got the software fixed. But other than that, she has been a beast. I couldn't have a better car for sure.
She's been a badass beauty.
She's been a badass beauty. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I just know me. If I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck. So if it can go wrong, you know this. Here, I'm trying to get this thing set up and nothing works. So for me, the more things I can take out of the juggle of possible things going wrong is the better off I am. So for me, electrical hybrid, it just makes me a little nervous. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's Jeep, so they had to have done all the testing.
That's what I would think, right?
But
I mean,
it's
if Jeep decided we're gonna put our Jeep and a hybrid technology together, I'm sure they did their due diligence to make sure that it all goes well.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, my favorite hybrid
torque on the trails. I'll give you that. I save those e-miles, and when I get on those trails, I have actually surpassed a lot of people. So, especially with overlanders, when they have all that weight, you need a little bit more give. So, it's been fun learning your vehicle. Getting out there and using it, and especially being a woman. I get a lot of hate. I mean, obviously, a lot of women in the car industry really do. I mean, you don't do this. Oh, she's just trying to post for likes, this and that. And a lot of people don't know. I do all my own installs. I do a lot of stuff. And we actually did a women's retreat where we got women who have Jeeps, and they want to go out, but they don't want to go out with Mel. Yeah, I mean, I get it, because some, men, they want to tell you what to do, but women, we got together and it was so much fun, and you're getting to help them learn how to, what gears to use, when you're going up, and stuff like that. So it's been really fun learning.
That's cool.
So yeah,
hey, that's cool, because I hear what you're saying, and I could picture
because it's intimidating.
When you think of a Jeep, you think of a guy, right? Oh yeah, I'm a Jeep, I go off-roading. And you would think of a guy with his wife. So in that picture, the dominant one is the guy, and the women are usually just kind of there for the ride and everything else. Right. But I could see how some women Jeep owners would want to kind of be in that, I'm dominating this situation without any male around me. That's cool. Because, whenever you say that, I think of kind of like what my wife does, because I gave her a Glock for Mother's Day once. And
Which Glock?
I don't know. So anyhow, she got together with this group of women, and they all take their guns and go to shooting ranges. And normally, when you think of a shooting range, you would think of like guys, right, taking their guns. Yeah. But this is a group of women, and one of these ladies is an instructor for gun safety and how to handle it and stuff like that. So she's a certified instructor in that area. So I get that, how other women Jeep owners would want to put themselves in that situation. That's cool.
Yeah. No, it is cool. I totally agree. It's
women feel intimidated getting into a Jeep, or any car that they want to, go off road. They want to learn the ropes, but they don't want to have that backlash of like, oh, well, she doesn't know what she's doing. Why did she get a Jeep? Or, there's always somebody going to say something, but we're just all in it together. We love the cars. We love, being out there, and all doing it for the same thing. So why can't, we all help each other? So it was pretty fun. It was a pretty fun day to get out there.
Yeah, I believe it.
When you say you get hate, does the hate come from guys, girls, both?
Actually, both, surprisingly. Mostly men, for sure. They just see a pretty girl, and they obviously think, well, she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know anything about cars. She doesn't know what she's doing. But my dad was a mechanic his whole life. He actually taught me quite a bit. I do all my own wiring installs. And obviously, some things I don't know, but that's not going to stop me. I just get underneath there, throw a few tools, say a few cuss words, and then boom, bada bing, I got it down. But I mean, does anybody really know what they're doing? I think that my dad always told me, like, do you think I, always know what I'm doing? Sometimes you just got to keep doing it. You fail to try again to, win. So, it's actually been kind of like heartwarming to say that, like, I did this. I did this myself. I could say that I installed this radio, or, it was really easy, actually. It was just very hard to cram everything in. So to get your little hands in there and try and get all the wires and stuff, but it pretty
try doing it with big hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even harder with big hands trying to shove those. That is the only part of that install that sucks is the dash is just so shallow back there.
And you were so helpful.
Well, the automotive
I
industry,
like,
I mean, it's
messaging you
been
all the time.
Yes, we were actually. I think you were installing originally on a Sunday and a Monday. I don't know. I was at my church office. I remember a lot of the messages I was shooting back and forth with you. So like I wasn't even here to like pull things up. I was like, trying to go shooting from memory. I'm like, try this.
Yeah. You were so
but you got
helpful.
it, and it was in.
Yeah,
I try. There's
the audio
I do little
was
well,
messed up, but I got that.
Nice. Well, I mean, the automotive industry, just to that point, it's always been kind of a bit muchacho.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got a couple girls here that work here, and I mean, we get these guys that'll call in and like are super demanding, and they'll get lippy with the girls, and I'm like, ladies, just hang up. Like, don't let these guys, like, you got to understand, like, a lot of these guys think they know what they're talking about, and I mean, they're lippy with us too. Like, it's not that they're not lippy with us. I just feel like they're a little different lippy with the ladies, and I'm not about that. So we just tell them to hang up.
Literally,
if you call the office, guys,
move on to the next.
Yep. Yeah. If you call the office and you start talking smack to the ladies, we just tell them to hang up. So don't do that.
I would hang up on them.
Yeah.
It's like you're calling me to help you, but you're not letting me help you. So why don't we end this call now?
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're moving on.
You're burned.
So okay, so you back in July, right? Didn't you take like a 30-day from campsite to campsite road trip?
I did actually. It was actually my first big trip. A lot went wrong, but I mean, what doesn't go wrong, right? You think it's going to be all like rainbows and butterflies and mountains. No, it wasn't. But I wouldn't. I'm trying to map out my second big trip for next year. So, but this trip was definitely fun. The maps, the Onyx on the old Jeep was just so tiny, and the screen, and now I get to see my whole map, and like I feel like a badass. I just feel like I could just get up in there, do my thing, and I'm ready to go. So it helped out tremendously.
Yeah. Onyx is pretty dope.
Yeah, trying to find all the trails, and even sometimes when it was like 10 o'clock at night and I'm trying to find a camp spot, I'm like, well, where am I going to camp tonight? And there's a lot of moments where it was just like, I'm winging it. Like, I didn't have a plan. I know where I wanted to go. I know what I wanted to see. But I didn't go to campsites. So I kind of just, I'm living here for the night type thing. So it was fun.
Yeah. I remember watching your trip. I think we were building something. Because I think I showed Vic that you were like set off to go for like 30 days.
We must have been working on the power management system.
It would have been something. We were working on something.
And I know you mentioned it because I think we were talking about SEMA and
maybe
what we were doing.
I feel like all we do is talk about SEMA
all year long. But anyhow, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it could have been.
And then that's when you showed me I think you showed me her page, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
And then when you said she's got one of our radios, the first thing that came to mind was, I wasn't like, she's probably not going to do it herself. But I thought to myself, I wonder if she's going to install it herself.
No,
but that's like, I was just wondering. And, now she says, I did it myself.
Like, cool. I should have recorded it, but it was middle of summer and it was hot. And I was like flustered. I was like, I don't want to be on camera. I'm just going to try and get this done. And I'm like calling him like, what do I do? I don't know how to do this part. Like, I'm rewatching the YouTube video like over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm at the point where like I'm crying, laughing at myself, right? Like, what did I get myself into? I mean, the install, obviously, I mean, it was like point blank. I mean, plug and play. But I feel like that's what they always say, like, oh yeah, it's plug and play. 5-6 hours later. I mean, I probably worked on that thing from like the morning until like whenever it was probably like almost nightfall when I was like, the audio doesn't work. So like I got everything all hooked up and I was like, am I going to have to take this whole thing out again just to figure out the audio part? So it was a little intimidating on that part, but I'm happy I stuck with it because I was like, I'll just finish it tomorrow. But when you start a project, you're like, I'm going to finish this today. I'm going to
Yes.
finish this, and I'm not
Yeah.
stopping until it's done. I don't care if it's 3:00 in the morning. We're going to do it. So, yeah.
Yes,
it was
been there,
definitely
done that, bought the T-shirt and everything. The amount of I'm not stopping till I'm done, and it regretting it eventually. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but we actually have a friend at OnX that does the mapping. We had him on here, I don't know, episode 7 or something.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and so we ran into him at Santa Sport. We chased him down because we were trying to get a hold of somebody from OnX, and so he had a Tacoma. So the Tacoma install video is actually his Tacoma.
Yeah,
and yeah, he's loved it. Same thing. Like he's like, man, when I'm at these, because he's a trail mapper, that's what he does for OnX. So he takes his truck out there and uses our radio to actually be the guy that's recording the maps for OnX.
Yeah,
and he's using our radio for it. So yeah, it's one of those like I don't know. It's one of those things that our radio does that's not really us, right? Like we didn't create OnX. We didn't create the app. We didn't do anything. We just happened to create a system that could run the app.
Exactly.
So it's just kind of cool, the expansion possibilities, which I think we hit that. Sometimes I feel like that's a dead horse we beat a lot. But maybe people need to hear it more. I don't know. What you can do with the radio. Because you're able to do things like OnX and stuff.
But you don't really know what that means until you've been on the other side. Like, for example, in your case, Sarah, you went from like the small screen to now the big screen. So, she now knows obviously how awesome it is. And that's kind of why we keep beating it, because
going back.
You're right.
We had that conversation. I think who was it was Walt. We were talking to Walt at ADC, and we're like, once you've had it, like I don't know that I think when I buy a car, I'm gonna have to verify I can put a radio in it now, because
literally I want to be like, do you have it for this model?
And if we don't, I'm not buying
it. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like right now. And it seems like a cheesy thing because we work for the company, but really there's something about like being able to split screen 2 apps, or being able to do OnX on half of it, and Spotify on half of it, which I do a lot of times when I'm out on the trails.
And just being able to do so much more than I mean, you could watch Netflix if you're you shouldn't do it while driving.
Keynote asterisk.
But I mean, and being able to like change the background, there's so much customization that just makes it be able to be more you. And I love it. Love that option. And to be able to, people, if they like trying to see the screen, it's been a fun mod in the Jeep.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love it. Being able to change it up. Like I've changed the background so many times. Like we were talking, he was making fun of how messy the apps are on the screen. It's because I'm always changing different launchers. I'm like, oh, this one, like you make it look like Iron Man for a while, and then I'm like, I'm bored of Iron Man. Let me make it look like something else, and then you change it to something else. So you're not stuck in kind of what the manufacturer put out, at least in our latest generation. So.
If I could just get one person, the way I think about, because I'm always posting into my story, showing, and, I always say, like, if you could just get one person to buy one, and that person, post it to their story, and then that person be like, oh, where'd you get that? And then it's just like a trickling effect of just like, what more can we do, So I think that's a pretty awesome,
Yeah. Yep. No, I love it. I'm always restoring. You always got good stories with the radio in there and stuff. So, so we don't keep you too long. I'd love to hear like your favorite feature of the radio. And then just, you said you're planning another trip. So I'd love to hear about what this next trip is.
Ooh, well, I think I kind of the customization of changing the background, and that's pretty awesome. And being able to, like you said, just the double play screen where you can, go back and forth. That's a pretty cool, nifty option. And just being able to just itself, and I'm trying to think of the word for it. Spectacular, I guess.
I love it. Spectacular. That's
it's
great.
Just out of all my things in my car, this has got to be my favorite. And I'm not just saying that, but it really is. And I even tell my parents and I tell all my friends, like, this is my favorite thing. This is like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like me, you know?
Yeah.
And I couldn't thank you enough for reaching back out, because there for a while I was like, oh, I hope he does. Because I know we talked about it. It's like, okay, I'll reach back out. And I'm like, oh, I heard that one before, you know?
Yeah.
But when you did, and when I got it, I was like, you should see, if I can find it on my Ring camera, I was like, when I received it, I was like jumping up and down. So I'm so excited for it. I'm still excited every time I get into my car, and like when I push to start and like I get into the car and my music's already playing and I'm like, my seats are warm. I'm like, it's going to be a good day.
Love it.
So,
yeah. I meant to when I said if I'd hit you up if I could. So
yeah.
Our whole influencer team, and like we'll have next week, we've got another one of our influencers is going to come on, Eldon from Overlanding Cactus on YouTube. He's got a Ranger. But I just, we're a really small company. I don't think a lot of folks understand how small we actually are. So our budgets are always super small. But I said I'd hit you up if I could.
And you did, and I appreciate it so much. It was such an awesome message to receive. I was just like, I was so giddy.
Yeah, cool. Well, I love that. All right, so tell us this new trip. So you did.
Oh my God.
This side you stayed like on the Pacific Northwest, and then ended up like in Utah. I think you passed us at some point because I think you ended up in Arizona. So you had to have passed us to get back up.
Well, I wanted
Fresno.
to go through Tahoe, but I was like, there's just something about Utah I always go back to. So I ended up just going that way, and I probably would have stayed out longer if I could. But this trip, it's my Nana's 98th birthday, and we all want to go to Arkansas, my whole family.
Okay.
So we're going to do a surprise party. So I thought, well, since it's summertime, why not do another trip out there, go to the Badlands and see Mount Rushmore, and kind of, I don't know really just yet of my map plan, but to kind of go through there and Idaho. I didn't really get to stop in Idaho. And I was thinking, it's so crazy because I was so close to the Canadian border. I should just went to national parks. I didn't think about bringing my passport. I just knew what I wanted to do, wanted to see, like when I was in the PNW in that area. Now, I didn't even think about any of that. So I think and it was kind of a spontaneous trip this last time. So it was pretty much, I just threw all my camping shit into excuse my language, I don't know if we can cuss on this, but threw all my stuff back in the Jeep and I just left. So this time I'm definitely going to plan a little bit more. I want to build I want to build in the back, like a organization, and, be a little bit more like kitchenette and things like that. So that's what I want to work on once the weather starts getting a little, maybe springtime, start working on something like that, because it was just a mess trying to figure out what I'm getting out and pulling out and shoving everything back in there. So we'll see where I end up, but most definitely we try and be out for 30 days again, out in the wild, and hopefully get to do a lot more. I didn't really do a lot. I did a couple off-road adventures when I was out there, but not too many. I fell out of the tent and literally broke my ribs, so that was fun. I was trying to open it, and that was like the first, the first day of my first big stop in Washington, and I was up by Mount Hood, and I was trying to lean over and open, try to like climb up the ladder and open the tent and everything, and it was just a big mess. So I had to go to the emergency room, not the ER, and do all that. So it was fun.
That's rough. You could hang out with my wife. We went to the Redwoods a year and a half ago, and we were hiking down from the Trees of Mystery, and she broke her ankle, and we were tent camping for another 4 nights with her broken ankle. So we ended up in the ER and the whole thing. So
damn,
sounds about the same as acting.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It didn't ruin my trip,
so
though.
Yeah, I would have given up. I think I don't know. Like I fell off that ladder and I still can't move my arm. And the thought of like setting up with a broken rib, I don't know that I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna.
I heard
it was
ribs
not
never recover.
Ribs never recover. I mean, I don't know. A
So
lot
I
of them
heard,
are like
like-
floating. So
Yeah, I heard that they never go back to.
where they're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Interesting. Crazy. Well, that's super cool. So Arkansas. So looking forward to seeing what you come up with in the next
Yes.
Yes,
week.
you'll
So,
definitely see a lot more and adventures in between now and then. So
Yeah.
I want to go up to Big Bear and go camping. So most definitely try to get out there. And
Hey, that's
go out
right
in the
up our-
snow.
That's right up
Well,
our. We're what,
let's
an
go
hour,
camping.
hour and a half from Big Bear.
If anything, yeah.
We're about an hour and a half, I think. Roughly, yeah, about an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
And which way you go. So that's cool. Well, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having
super
me.
grateful. I'll throw your code up there and people can jump on ADC Mobile if they want to and use your code to get a discount. Also, make sure I set your handle up there so folks can follow you and see that you are the real deal, that you are,
That's right.
you're out there, your Jeep is getting dirty. That's, it's not a mall crawler. That's not what they call it. The mall
It never
crawler.
stays clean. I got it cleaned one time
Yeah.
and I said, I will never pay to get it cleaned because it was just dirty the next day. So she stays
Yes.
full dirty. And I was like, this doesn't give me the feel that it does when it's dirty. Like when it's clean, it just makes me
Yeah.
look like Chris. I mean, clean Jeeps are nice. Don't get me wrong. I like when she's clean, when she's ready for show and like, but there's something about a dirty Jeep. Even when I did the last show, I kept her dirty. I didn't clean her up.
Okay.
And so
All right.
I actually got a few, people were like, I love that you kept it dirty. Like it looks, it looks like, how it's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it's
I
fun.
have to keep ours clean because it's not mine yet. But I've come back from some trails. Like we did last winter. We went from Big Bear into 29 Palms, which is the other side of the desert, and we took a trail through there and a lot of snow and smush and
it was dirty.
Pretty. It was pretty cakey. I was like, and that's the time. Don't tell anybody, but I broke the sway bar. Or the sway bar connector. So the whole drive back from 29 Palms, and you know how windy it gets in the desert right there, man. Like with no sway
It was
bar
raw.
and all the weight on the top of this Jeep, it was like a bucking bronco, man. I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I didn't die.
Y'all are we gonna
but,
make it home?
but I fixed it. Yep. We did. Cool. Well, yeah. If you head out to
thanks
Big Bear,
for
have fun
having
there.
me.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of nice stuff up in Big Bear. It is my pleasure, and make sure you guys give Sara a follow there at Badass Beauty. Check out what she's got going on. She's got some fun stuff. And little did you know, we actually are super tight with Wolfbox, like super super tight. Like we have stuff of theirs in our warehouse, super tight. So Wolfbox is cool stuff. But anyways,
Yep.
cool. Right on. Well, that's episode 18.
Yes.
We did it. We're full-on adult podcasters.
There you go.
In 3 weeks, we'll be
Congratulations.
drinking podcasters. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think like 3 weeks ago, I said I'm a great starter and I'm a horrible finisher. So
Yeah.
like the fact that we've gone this far, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yes.
And then we've
Yeah,
actually been
it
talking
was
about kind of
great.
changing some things up, trying to change some things up in our. Well, it's not really a studio; it's my office. And there's a table here and it's just really uncomfortable to record here. So, and hopefully I could set things up so they're less modular and I don't have more problems with things not working, but that could be coming in the new year. But anyways, we are almost there, by the way. I think we are like 5 subscribers away from giving away your radio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think the last time I checked, we were like 5 or 10 subscribers away from giving away radio. So make sure if you haven't subscribed, click the link in the subscription. Why do I keep saying that? Click the link in the description. I
There
always
you
say
go.
subscribe, description. My brain just like says, no, they're both subscribed. No, John, they're not both subscribed. One is description. So in the video description will be a link to subscribe and join the giveaway to get a free radio. But yes, there it is. Episode 18 is in the books, and we will see you guys next week with another one of our Team LinksWells. See you guys.
Thank you so much.